All right.
Well, back to the story.
Yeah, now I'm recording. Go ahead. Welcome back, y'all. Y'all know what this is. It's,
So this guy, his name, cause I'm tired of not saying his name. I'm saying his name. I'm dragging him. Okay. Because like I said, he only saw her as a paycheck. He says he cared, but did he really? Um.
probably not.
So
If I had to guess.
well, okay. So what we were talking before about how like her death day is considered the same as Prince's death day, and that's because that's the day she was found dead, which was on a Wednesday, and this guy was like, "Oh, I know for a fact that she was dead on Sunday, and I'm gonna tell you how." So it was already suspicious.
It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, but we got it.
So you heard that, right? You heard that.
Yeah. It
This
was.
dude has been drunk since Sunday.
Oh no, I didn't hear that. What was that noise?
My roommate, when I said that she died, he came out. He said, "Who died?" Well, he wobbled out.
Walk is a very generous way to put it.
Ooh, this is difficult. This is the hard part.
Okay, so yeah, he said that he knew that she had died on Sunday.
How many
And there's
are
a
left?
there's a whole lot of
Four, five, six,
so the way I
7,
explained it before was there are a whole bunch of kooky characters in this story.
8. Uh-huh.
Because the whole reason her mom said that she wanted this whole thing looked into more
Yeah.
was because when Chyna died, her mom planted a rose bush in Chyna's memory in her front yard, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then on the opposite side of her yard, she planted another rose bush. Well, apparently that rose bush died, but the China bush just kept blooming and blooming. And one day she was out with her dogs and she was walking, and she walked by the bush and it shook and it like gave her a shiver. And it made her think of China, and she was like, "I need to look more into this."
Hey man, you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Them premonitions
So-
be premoniting.
So that's what made her mom want to look more into the situation. There were multiple accounts of supernatural goings on, because even Dr. Drew said that he had a similar encounter, and he is apparently a skeptic and like doesn't believe in, or well, not a skeptic. He just doesn't believe in that sort of stuff.
The
But
ghoulies.
even
I don't believe in the
even
Buddha.
he said,
Hold on, y'all.
yeah, even he said
Hold on,
he had
hold on,
an
hold on,
encounter.
Hold on. Huh, Jack? What happened? I feel like I've been in a trance. What do you think?
Albania.
What do you think when I said the word blood? Well, lunch for starters. Whew. You're back to your old self. You're not making any sense, Jack. Oh, you almost made me forget. Dr. Finkelstein asked me to give you this. It's the butt plug. Your bat
One
boomerang
of
has
17.
Your butt boomerang has been powered up. Oh, that wasn't the doc. The doc? Oh no, I completely forgot. He asked me to find Sally. If I don't know how to do Jack's voice, y'all, I just don't. If these three brats, if the three brats involved, if the three brats were involved, you should try the treehouse. I didn't realize it was the vampire. It's the withered old building on the outskirts of town. If you
The accent, it comes and goes, you know.
I had a knock on the head as a child. You can, fuck. You can get there from the door on the very edge of the town square. The tree house, the tree house, huh? Thanks. I'll check it out. No, we won't. We're going secret hunting. All right. So Dr. Drew had a premonition about a premonition.
Well, he didn't have a premonition. Apparently, his wife is super into mediums and the supernatural and stuff.
Love it.
And Dr. Drew is a man of science. But they got a reading from a medium, and according to him, Chyna may have come through during that reading because Dr. Drew was one of the people who had tried to help her.
Oh, cool. Wow.
Well, you know, remember how she was on Surreal Life?
Yeah, I told somebody
this
about
guy,
that recently, about how she fucking
this guy. Well, when she was on that, she was very, very clearly messed up, right? She was on, at the time, she was drinking heavily, and I think they said she was on meth and stuff.
Meth?
Yeah.
Baby,
no. So this guy, Anthony, the manager, he's the guy who I believe got her on that show.
I get the feeling like you're definitely on like team fuck that guy.
He's
100%. Yeah. So here's when the interview starts, Anthony says, "Okay, so to tell you the story about Chyna, I've got to start at the beginning." And you think like, oh, okay, so what? Like circa 2001, after she left the WWE, when they meet? No, my father was a talent manager in the 1950s, and he was a mayor in Idaho, and he knows all these famous people, and so I became a talent manager, and I manage all of these famous people. You know, like I manage like Ralph Macchio and Linda Blair and Barry Williams, and it's like, dude, you literally represent people that were famous 40 years ago. Your job is to work the con circuit.
Linda Blair was the chick from The Exorcist, right?
Yes.
He didn't do her no fucking favors.
Super freak.
He didn't do her no favors. Linda Blair got injured on the set of The Exorcist because the dude who
Look, I don't know if he represented her while she was. I don't know. I don't think he was old enough for it then, but he represents her like today.
Oh, okay. Because that chick got injured on that set because they rigged up a harness. Like there's a scene where she gets like thrown back. There's a scene where she gets thrown back.
Oh, when she's like against the wall.
Yeah, and they rigged a harness to yank her. To yank her back, and that's how they that's just how they did that, right?
That's how well, she was doing her own stunts.
Yeah, and she was, and what ends up happening is, they just yanked her like out of nowhere, and she didn't see it coming, and she got injured like really badly, like in the process, like it threw her against the fucking wall, and she got hurt. So, when I say like he didn't do her no favors, I mean like she could have like just not been on in the movie, and like she has spinal like back injury, like back pain to this day.
Well, I was gonna say that's how they did like with a lot of.
How old is this asshole?
He's in his 50s. I remember him saying at one point. I don't remember how.
Because look at me. I look great for 50. Look at me. I'm fantastic.
That's kind of how he sounds when you hear him talk. But like a lot of actors back in those days, because they didn't do a whole lot of, they did like their own stunt work. That's how they ended up on drugs, and that's how they ended up dying so young. Because
that's how Homer ended up on painkillers.
Huh?
That's how Homer ended up on painkillers.
I don't remember that episode.
It was an episode where they basically did like The Simpsons as if they were real people. Yeah, like Homer doing all his own stunts. That's how he ended up like addicted to painkillers.
Okay. Yep.
These aren't real
that's
people.
How they got, that's how they got Elizabeth Taylor. I believe, well, the whole studio screwed up Judy Garland. That was just a messy situation. But back to this guy. So he wanted to paint the picture that he was this mega big shot dealing with all of these famous people who were famous 40 years ago. And he wanted to paint the picture that he didn't need Chyna to be relevant because he thinks that the whole reason the rumor was started with him possibly having something to do with her death was because she fired him. And there was one point where he's like listing all of these names, and he goes on a rant, and he's like, "She fired me? No, I fired her!" Dude. And he's literally like yelling on the phone, and you're just like, this dude is messed up completely. So,
not to mention delusional.
Well, here's the thing. He tried to paint again. He did everything he could to paint her as delusional, and to paint himself as the hero. But yes, meanwhile, he's also living in his
not to
own
use a term
delusion.
that Martin apparently hates, but gaslight.
I just don't think gaslighting is a real term.
Yeah.
God damn it! I didn't mean to do that.
So
I don't think it's a thing. Like, I think if you're easily like misconstrued into thinking you're crazy, like, I wouldn't call it like anything other than just manipulation. Fuck. Anyway.
So okay, we know how the whole Chyna situation kind of began. It was when she found out about
Triple H
and Stephanie.
Yeah.
According to him,
if you didn't know.
According to him, they were having an affair like fully for a year before Chyna knew. The whole reason she got hooked up with Eddie Guerrero in their storyline was because she and Eddie were on another show. And they would always be in different parts of the country from where Triple H and Stephanie were. So Chyna and Triple H owned a house together in New Hampshire, and after a while, she began to get suspicious about it. And so she picked the lock on one of his suitcases and found like love letters that Stephanie had written.
Oh, so cute.
Then she confronted him about it, and he finally admitted it. And so apparently she was going to go and talk to Vince, but Stephanie was outside of Vince's office, and they went into the office and had it out. And then the whole situation got messy, and that's when she got fired. Later on, soon after that, she went onto the internet and like started making videos about how she was going to kill Triple H and how dirty and everything he was. From what I understand, at this point, she was clean-ish, and she didn't start doing the dirty drugs until she hooked up with X-Pac, because he openly admitted to getting her on drugs. After that whole sex tape situation was when she really started dealing with this manager, and he says that this is when he started to notice that there were problems with her, because there would be times when she would say that X-Pac raped her, but then the next day she'd be out like selling the video, like, look at this movie that I'm in, and apparently like she cashed the check that she got from the company and everything. So he would be like, she was living in her own delusion. Now, this may have been confirmed by Dr. Drew, because he said that he didn't, he knows that she was never diagnosed, but from what he could tell, she most likely had dissociative identity disorder.
Oh, she got that Randy Orton disease.
Well, nah, that was IED. That was intermittent explosive disorder.
Oh.
Basically, Chyna had multiple personalities. Because Dr. Drew said that he had seen it firsthand from where, like, how she could switch, just turn on a dime. Like from one personality to another, and each personality is living in their own reality. It's kind of like, you know how in these new X-Men movies, how Dr. X like locked away the Phoenix inside Jean's head?
Yeah.
Yeah, to protect her from the childhood crap. That it's a similar situation to that, because apparently she had suffered like a bunch of trauma as a kid. Like she was abused by like her stepdad and stuff like that. And she left home at 15. Anywho, fast forwarding years, she's fully involved like with this guy as her manager. He kept saying, he kept talking about how close they were. And he would say stuff like, oh yeah, we were so close, we slept in the same bed, but we never did anything. We were practically married, but we never, like, had sex. He kept on making that a point. He was like, I've seen her naked. There was one time,
We all have.
you know, when she put me in a headlock and then she just popped her boob out and just started shoving it in my face. And, yeah, he's
Weird
saying
flex,
stuff
okay.
like that. But then he would talk about all of the times when she was messed up, and there was one point where they decided to, you know, not work together anymore. And according to him, she went to Japan to kill herself.
That's a good place to do it. They got a forest for it.
Yeah, she went to Japan hoping that, and she made a scene hoping that she would be killed for making that scene. He says that he found her in a pool of blood once when she slit her wrist. So when she went to Japan with the whole, she was committed for 30 days, apparently. And then she was in Japan for 4 years teaching English because she was fluent in Japanese. She spoke 4 languages. Had no idea, had a degree in linguistics. Remember when Triple H did the Stone Cold podcast and Stone Cold asked him like when Chyna was going to be in the Hall of Fame, and then Triple H dropped that BS answer about Google being a thing, and he's like, I have daughters, and what if they go and Google her name?
Okay. Those are
You
words.
don't
What if they
remember
do?
that?
Okay.
No.
You don't remember that?
Well, I didn't really watch the Stone Fuck! I didn't watch the Stone Cold podcast.
Well, that was the BS answer that he gave. And the funny thing is, you know, is that when they Google her name, his name is attached to all of that. And not to mention his best friend, who had already been welcomed back into the company and everything. Like, Chyna didn't make the video on her own. So after he did that podcast, apparently her name was in the you know, like the website, the circle and everything. Like people were talking about Chyna again, and she had been in Japan, you know, kind of doing all right. Nobody really knew what she was doing. They just knew that she wasn't in America causing a scene anymore. However, when her name started popping up again, and she hears about this, she makes a phone call, and guess who's like, oh yeah, you should definitely come back here. I've got an idea. We're going to make this documentary. We're going to call it The Reconstruction of Chyna, and it's going to end, you know, with you making up with Triple H, and then we're going to get you like in a wrestling match in Las Vegas in front of a crowd, and Barry Williams is going to be there. Greg Brady.
All right, from okay.
Not even from the movie in the 90s.
No.
Like, literally from the Brady Bunch, Greg Brady. Because he represents all of the Bradys.
Oh, I assumed that he was just saying that because, like, he was on Surreal Life with her.
No, he represents all of the Bradys. He also represented...
I can't get over this from here.
He also represented multiple people that went on to celebrity rehab and then died afterwards.
Shit. What a cockpiece. What a dick.
So, he gets her to come back to America. And he is literally recording from the second she walks out of the airport. And everything for him was a spectacle. Everything. And this is where I'm switching into the story that was told by the other person that was dealing with the documentary. Because apparently that guy had a lot to do with convincing her to come back too. And it wasn't because he wanted to make the money. It was because he was a wrestling fan and he wanted to meet her. He wanted to help her, but he was in the entertainment industry and he knew how, to make a documentary. So he was like, yeah, he's got the idea. I know somebody who can film it, and we can do this. So they convinced her to come back. They're filming practically from the second she gets off the plane. When they're in New York, this guy Anthony decides, hey, Connecticut is right over there. Why don't we go to WWE headquarters and see if we can talk to Vince or Triple H and see if they've got any residual checks for you? Because apparently once they had done it before, and she went to, they called headquarters about residuals, and the accounting people were like, oh yeah, we've been trying to find her. We have a check for her. It was for $88,000.
Just imagine just being able to throw those kind of checks around.
Yeah. So he's like, it happened once before. Let's see if we can do it again. So they go to the headquarters and they're like, hey, we want to see. And he made sure to mention himself. He was like, hey, it's Chyna and Anthony. We want to see if there are any checks for her. And the people at the desk are like, yeah, no. And he was like, oh, okay. Well, then can we talk to Vince McMahon? And they're like, no. Well, can we see Triple H?
No.
And they're like, no. So they called security. And there is a story about Chyna being escorted out of WWE headquarters. It's because of him. So when she moved back to America, she doesn't have a place to live, so she ends up living with him. And the other guy that convinced her to come back, his name is Rob, he also ends up living with Anthony, and they are staying with him for like a month. And this is where things get funny, because Anthony goes off and he just hates Rob. And he starts yelling, and he's like, yeah, when she came back, Chyna, and Rob, who is a pedophile, who I let sleep on my couch down the hallway for my 18-year-old daughter, and is a pedophile, lived in my house.
I'd like to point out that 18 is legal.
She was 18, yeah, she was 18. But he kept on about Rob being a pedophile. But at the same time, he's calling Rob a pedophile, but then he kept insinuating that Rob had a gay sexual relationship with the other guy that was working with him.
Just continue, because I don't have words. I don't have words. I really don't. I hate this guy. I don't know this man, and I hate this man.
So he says, while they were in New York, he got Chyna to apologize to Barry Williams, and he has that on camera, because once, while Barry Williams was doing a show in Vegas, there would be a part where Barry would do the Brady Bunch song. I don't know if you were a fan of the Brady Bunch.
Not specifically, no.
Well, they do have a song, and apparently he would go into the crowd and pull people onto the stage and be like, "You're gonna be Marsha, you're Jan. Let's do the Brady Bunch song." And Anthony brought Chyna to the show one day, and it was like, "Chyna, he's gonna pull you on the stage, and we're gonna get you some attention." And she was like, "Okay." She got wasted and just walked onto stage before he could pull anybody else on the stage. And she was like, "Barry, we're gonna do the Brady Bunch song. I'm Marsha."
That's actually...
So he had her apologize to Barry for that, and he got it on film. And basically, for him, this is going to be the Chyna Apology World Tour, and he's going to get it all on film. So they're living in his house. He's trying to come up with all of these ideas. Eventually, Rob got fed up with it, and he couldn't stay there anymore. And he had some kind of settlement going, and he won money, so he left. He moved out. And they finally had managed to get Chyna a place to live too. So he had this brilliant idea of how to reunite or to build a bridge with Chyna and Triple H, because he also apparently managed Roddy Piper. So he had seen Piper one day, and he was telling Piper about, the situation with Chyna and his idea and everything, because a lot of people in the wrestling industry don't really have a problem with Chyna. They all really liked her. As a matter of fact, everybody that spoke to the guy in the interview, literally every person said she was the kindest person in the world. She was like the give you the shirt off of her back type of person. So she was relatively well liked. She just had an issue. So he comes up with this idea, and Piper's like, "Oh yeah, let's do it. We can do it on my podcast." And he was like, "So we'll have Triple H. I'm gonna have Triple H on my podcast, and we'll take some calls, and we'll have Chyna be the caller, and then that way, they can't escape."
Brilliant.
Unless Roddy Piper dies, which he did.
Yeah.
So, so Piper died before that could happen. And over the years, Roddy and Chyna had built a relationship. Chyna was actually pretty close with Roddy and his wife and his kids. So they had a public funeral, and then they had a private funeral for his family in his hometown, because he lived in Portland. And the private funeral, Anthony got invited to, and he brought Chyna. And it just so happened that Raw was in town when they had the private funeral. So Triple H was at the funeral. This is where he seized his moment. When they're doing the whole viewing situation,
These dice. Cool.
Triple H apparently was in a corner, alone, at a place where he couldn't move. And so he pulls Chyna aside. He says, "There he is. He can't move. He's stuck. Go apologize to him. Go hug him and say that you're sorry for everything you said and sorry for everything you did." And she's like, "Okay." So she goes and she does it. And he recorded it on a pen camera. He brought a freaking pen camera to a funeral.
Oh.
Everyone to seize the moment. This snotty piece of dog shit.
So he is recording, and apparently, like, she goes and she hugs Triple H and she says it, and then, according to even Rob, who has seen this footage, says it looks like Triple H mouths the words "Me too," and then, like, they break the hug, she walks away, and then he goes about his day, and then the next day, a report came out that she had caused a scene at the funeral and had to be escorted out. But then Roddy's wife like came to her defense and was like, "No, she's a close friend of the family. She didn't cause any type of scene. We invited her there." So
He was the one that told
that's.
people
I think he said it was X-Pac that actually said it.
I'm sure.
So in the next few months, they're trying to, work out this situation. Like, okay, so they're filming literally everything. They go to Vegas for some signings and cons and everything, and she's continuously like just getting messed up. And the way he explained it, it was that she was a binge drinker. And he was like, she could literally drink for 11 days straight and then just not drink again for 3 months. But during those 11 days, it's going to be a complete oblivion. So, they get to the point where he's just like, this is bad. We've gotten to a really bad place. And remember, I told you before that she had been offered, in that last year of her life, she had been offered rehab multiple times. And even expressed interest in going herself without letting him know. But what did he want to do?
He wanted to monetize it.
He wanted the spectacle of it all. So he claimed to have been a producer or one of the creators of Celebrity Rehab, of Surreal House, of basically every trashy reality show that was on VH1 with washed up celebrities. Because that's the type of person that he represented. So he could get them all on TV. And again, multiple people that he had gotten on TV died later.
Hey, Mark.
Yeah.
You look at the guide and tell me where I'm supposed to be going, because I went and did some collectible hunting, and I don't know what areas again I'm supposed to be going in.
Okay, what's the last thing you
I
did?
just came from Jack's house. Like, I went to Jack's house and I defeated the moth.
Fear the moss. Also, you can now throw multiple homing bats.
Yeah, it's a really good ability.
I keep going till you get back to the hole in town square.
Yeah, but somewhere in town square. What I'm supposed to do here?
Check your map, go all the way to the bottom left corner, which you couldn't reach before.
I did that.
And use the acid bath, okay.
Okay.
Use the spiders here to get onto a ledge with a ghost block.
Yeah, that's gonna lead me to a hidden thing.
So do you have the mayor's bow tie?
Yeah.
Okay, so... Witch's broom, do you have that?
Nah.
Okay, so now there will be a couple areas you have to fill here. The first one is where you did the possessed pumpkin side quest.
The witch's broom. These are pickups. I just want to know, where am I going? Like, I don't need these to finish the game. These are just like things.
Look, I'm just going down. I'm going down.
Yeah, I know. Well, skip ahead. You know what? Fuck it. I guess we can, like, it was 3. There's 10 things. No, I can't. 7. There's 7 pickups left. All right, where's the witch's broom? Fuck it.
At in the pumpkin patch.
All right, bro. Go ahead. Continue, please.
I don't remember where it was.
the spectacle, like he was.
He wanted the spectacle of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She expressed
She was,
wanting to go to rehab.
wanted rehab, couldn't get it because he's a dickhead.
Yeah. So, they were in Vegas or something at one point, and they had a falling out because she had gotten wasted and missed like a signing or something. And according to him, he was calling Dr. Drew because he spoke about Dr. Drew as if he and Drew were old friends. When Drew spoke, he was like, "Yeah, Anthony, what a character, huh? Yeah, he was just calling me. They would all just be calling me out of the blue, asking me like what we should do." And I'm like, "She needs help. She needs to be in a treatment center." And Anthony's response, Drew practically completely refuted something that Anthony said before, because he was like, "Yeah, we knew she needed rehab and she needed help, but no one wanted to do anything." And Drew was like, "Yeah, Anthony asked me about rehab, but he was like, where can I go for no money?" Anthony claimed that no one ever offered him WWE rehab because And what did I just tell you before? WWE pays for it. Anthony knew that WWE would pay for it. He just didn't want to send her to the WWE rehab. He was trying to find somewhere that he wouldn't have to spend money. And that he would still be in charge of, you know?
So he could control the narrative.
Yeah. So...
Because again, without the drama, like, there's no point.
Right.
Yeah, like, and Drew, like, completely refuted what Anthony said, which just calls into question, like, was anything he was saying true at all? And from the most part, what I could tell was true was that she was a hot mess, and she clearly had mental problems. But what was also true is that everyone around her was using her. So they had this falling out in Vegas, but this is after he's already decided that he's going to get intervention involved in it. Because intervention had been offered as a solution to them before, and he turned it down. Years before, it had already been offered, and he turned it down. So when he saw like how bad she was getting, he was like, "Okay, we're going to do this, and we're going to work it into my documentary. We're going to get her the intervention. Yeah, we're going to have people there. We're going to get The Rock. We're going to get Mankind." And Mankind could have been a pull. He could have actually gotten Mick in the room because Mick absolutely adored Chyna. They were good friends. The Rock was a stretch. So another thing that they had planned on doing, because while she was in Japan, she had been in contact with her mom. And she hadn't seen her mom for 30 years.
Jeez.
Because she left home at 15. So she got into contact with her mom. He found out about this and was like, "Oh, this is perfect. We're going to get you making up with your mom." Unfortunately, they were in Vegas. Chyna got messed up. He told her mom that Chyna got messed up. And her mom was like, "I don't know if I want to see her in that way, in that situation." So her mom backed out. He told Chyna, her mom backed out. Chyna went and got more messed up.
Fair enough.
So this is where the big fallout happened, where pretty much he never spoke to her again, because within 2 weeks she was dead. They end the engagement in Vegas. They go back to California where she was living, and he says that he was sending food to her house, even though they never spoke. He was sending food to her apartment to make sure that she ate every day. And it had been a while since he had heard anything like from her, and he was like, it would happen, often, like they get into it, they would speak, and then they would always, come back together, but he wasn't hearing anything, and he's like, oh, well, maybe this is it. So he had already had the intervention deal in the works, and he had it set up to where the intervention people were going to follow her for like a week so that they could...
Hold that thought. We're going to end it here. We're going to have a third episode about Chyna because I'm here for this. Like, I am here for this. Like, it's like listening to a podcast while gaming. Like, I am loving every bit of this. Mark, figure out where I need to go next. Please. Thank you. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Apparently, we are going to try to get all the collectibles in the game. That was not the plan at first, but it is now.
All 17 of them butt plugs.
I got 3 more shrunken heads to get and 6 more pickups to get. And
is that what you call your butt plugs?
Shrunken heads, yeah. They are shrunken heads.
Do you have Doc's Breaker?
Probably not. Beaker? You mean?
It says Breaker, but I'm assuming it is Beaker.
Yeah, it's Beaker. Yeah, I have it.
Okay, do you have the old saxophone?
No, I don't think so.
That one is also in the pumpkin patch.
Is it? Huh.
Yeah.
Alright, well, good thing I asked before I left here. Alright, y'all, until next time, we're up out of here. Take care of yourselves and be safe. Till then, peace.